why don't we start? Let's go back to the start, and work our way through the timelines in terms of your experience of the last 6 months. So first of all, what was it like for that first decision to shut down, and what were the factors that kind of played into that? About 6 months ago, I know you, like most of the gyms in Canada, made the decision to shut down ahead of the government telling everybody they had to. So just curious about like how that decision went down and what were the factors that went into it.
Yeah, sure. And in most of our clubs' cases, in the areas our clubs are in, we were never mandated to shut down. So it was a decision for fitness facilities in a lot of cases across Canada on their own to shut down, because it was a responsible thing to do. And I remember our last day of operations was March 17th. I remember on March 16th, our ownership and executive group at L&L Signature Fitness got together, and we needed to make a decision because about a week and a half to 2 weeks prior, we had obviously increased our hygiene practices within the clubs and the cleaning. We didn't know where this was going, but I think on the 16th, when I believe it was the 16th, that Canada had a nationwide state of emergency declared, and schools in Quebec and Ontario were being shut down. It was a responsible thing for fitness facilities to close. So it was a tough decision because we knew that we had a road ahead that we didn't know the direction that road was going to take us. We knew that we were going to take a heavy hit in terms of, our revenues as an organization. But our core values at Club 16, one of the words that stands out is transparency, and remaining open, I think, for fitness facilities would have been wasn't a very transparent decision to make. So it was easy in terms for our organization because we make decisions based on those core values and missions. So we looked at the information we had and said, okay, basing the decision on our core values, we have to shut down. So March 17th was our last day of operations, and most fitness facilities followed suit as well, whether it was the day before us or a couple of days after us shutting down.
Yeah, and I mean, let's maybe dive into that a little bit, because you were relatively new to the Fitness Industry Council of Canada at that point in time. Been on some calls for some time, and I myself, not being a gym owner operator, and somebody who is at times critical might be the word, but I think just very honest about what is good and bad in the fitness industry. I was really pleasantly surprised on those initial calls to hear what the tone was from all, and this was from the biggest chains down to the smallest, the smallest one-off clubs, in terms of that conversation that happened. And maybe the audience probably hasn't heard much of this because they weren't on the calls, but let's go through that conversation a little bit. I remember it starting with people saying, listen, I know we want to stay open, but for the sake of public health and safety, we need to shut down. And that was where the conversation started. And I think it was, I can't remember which of the big chains it was that sort of put that out there first. And there was zero, pushback from anybody. There was nobody that sort of said, no, we need to try and keep the membership dues or the revenues going. I mean, what was like being in that, being, like I said, relatively new to those calls and to the industry, what was your sort of take on that?
I actually get goosebumps thinking about it. It was a devastating time for our business, but it was a moment that I became very, I guess I've always been proud of the fitness industry and being a part of it, being a part of physical and mental health and all that comes with. But I was just so proud that all of the fitness industry came together. And I mentioned that on our calls numerous times and on the Health and Fitness Day as well. I think it just brought a new perspective for me as somebody who I claim to be younger, but somebody that's coming into the fitness industry to see all the people that have been in operations and the club owners for such a long time. It really shows that we're in health and fitness to help people. And I think that's probably where the underlying decision was consistent across Canada. Was we had a common goal, which was to make sure that we could make people healthy and safe. And when it came to this pandemic, we didn't have the answers. We didn't know what was going to happen or how this virus affected us. So we had to make a decision based on what we didn't know. So we stuck with all of our values, and that sort of, like I said, just gave me goosebumps thinking about it. I was so proud to be a part of those discussions with everybody across Canada. Yeah,
me too. I think it was, one of those times where everyone was really tested. And I think that, there's always that public perception of the fitness industry. The bottom line a lot of time taking precedence over health outcomes or results or those things. That's always that balance that people are having where they've got to drive enough business to stay open and make money. And sometimes that the public perception of the industry is that those bottom lines, that sales is what drives everything over health and safety and outcomes and results in gyms. And I was to see that where there was zero question about that, right? Like revenues, they knew revenues were going to go, they knew it was going to happen, they knew it was going to be a tough road ahead, but it was just like health and safety comes first. And that was I think that was one of those things that I was really impressed with. And I think everybody was really happy because this industry has, we're always competing against each other in a lot of ways, right? So to see everybody kind of come together collectively on behalf of the industry, for the most part, there's obviously exceptions to that rule, which we'll talk about. Did you enjoy that clip? You can check out the whole podcast on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to get more content on the future of fitness.